streaming, I'm new to it. I like editing and pre-recorded and not worrying about something going wrong that I can't remove. So, what's this? If you can hear me. Or maybe I'm too loud. We'll find out. This isn't Saw. This isn't Evil Within. There's far less gore and barbed wire in this. Oh, there is a little. There is a little. This is a demo from E3.
Yeah.
Not, and I'm just watching to see if I notice someone on the right. There'll be a reason for why I'm looking for stuff that I will mention in a minute. And now I will lean away from the mic to cough. Okay, RE Engine, and that music sounds a little not familiar, but familiar in tone. So what is it? Resident Evil 7. Beginning hour. What this is, since they're still releasing information, so people may not actually know this, because obviously this is going to be titled Resident Evil 7, is kind of a prequel. You're here in a house, your name is Clancy, and this is not a reboot, this is Resident Evil 7. This is actually set after 6. What we know is it's set in a spooky house in the woods. Imagine that in a Resident Evil game. Although it's technically a bayou, this is not, that we know of, some Umbrella lab. And I've had a quick run through it already, and I'm just going to look for anything I may have missed, because there is a few secrets. And I'm going to try just running through it the easiest way just to show you, and then I'm just going to have a poke about at some of the other stuff. So, let's just check the options. Audio. Let's just turn it down a little bit. Okay, so here we are, we're in the house and we've been told we need to get out. That little video beforehand is actually set after this. The interesting thing about this teaser, it's like Bravely Default. The demo is kind of a prequel to the main game. So the first thing you notice is you're in a room, you start here, and right here there's a picture of two people. That guy in the yellow shirt you will be running into in the demo. So it looked in the trailer a lot more like PT than it does in the game. There's still a little PT to it, but this seems, art style wise, to remind me of a little bit of Remake, a little bit of Outlast, and quite a bit of Condemned Criminal Origins, but it is still Resident Evil. If you imagine this was, the fixed camera, you start here, straight ahead there's a TV, you turn right, there's a fuse box, there's a door. It's, gameplay wise, it's Resident Evil with some Fatal Frame, but a bit more subtle than either, but it's not just a straight walk and jump scare simulator, which a lot of people feared it will be, and I can completely understand that, but you'll see. So first off, it wouldn't be Resident Evil without notes, would it? So I will dash them against the stones. I'm not religious, I'm an atheist, but maybe this is a passage from the Bible. It kind of sounds like it, but then there's a lot of stuff that people know from films like Pulp Fiction that people say is from the Bible and turns out to be complete bollocks. So I shall dash through against the stones. This is the first thing you see, aside from it's dishevelled, it's ruinous, it's ruined. So we keep going. Here's a TV, and you don't have a videotape. Again, it's weird. There is classic Resident Evil here, but it's just because of first person you expect it to be different. Can I play Moonlight Sonata? No. No Moonlight Sonata for you, Clancy. Here is a fuse. On your first playthrough, you may not find the fuse. So, for the first playthrough, let's assume we don't. I don't know if you can hear it, because I'm messing with the audio, but we just heard someone walking upstairs, and here are some implements which I can crouch, get a good look at. Just syringes, tweezers. What I like about this is these are things that you may have in a first aid kit, a more extensive one than the small ones, but there's no like huge bloody hatchet or anything. Like I said, it's more subtle than The Evil Within, which I did not like The Evil Within. As a big Resident Evil fan, I couldn't even finish it. I found it tremendously over the top. So, guess what? Shit's locked. Welcome to a world of survival horror. Good luck. Now, this looks like Remake in first person. Like you can half expect like a zombie to come around the corner, but we don't. What we have is a basement door which is boarded up, and dolls, which I believe may be a Blair Witch reference. But the interesting thing, if I can get a good view, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dolls. This is interesting because there is something in the demo that you see 7 times. I've only spotted it twice, but it's around. So, first mystery is a drawer. You open it, and you get a dummy finger. And close the drawer, because we're not slobs. And check the inventory. Yes, it has an inventory. It isn't just a walking simulator. And the first thing you see is it's made of celluloid, and it's clearly got ball joints, which suggests maybe these fucking things move. And I'm not a fan of mannequins. There's very few things that creep me out, but something about mannequins always does, which is probably why Silent Hill has always been a little more scary than Resident Evil to me. But this, I don't know what to do with yet. There's been a lot of theories. People are messing around like it's PT, but for now, I'm just going to show you how to finish the easiest way. So you look around. What's in the fridge? Maggots. We actually encountered something alive. I didn't notice that. And bags of gore. Some spaghetti, and that's about it. The microwave, a crow. Get your lighter ready. Simply gone. I haven't noticed this before. That may be something, because there's stuff to notice in this. There's more than one ending in particular. That's a little too PT. I'm not a fan of those kind of you should be scared when it's not really scary, it's just gross. Which was my problem with The Evil Within in its entirety, to be honest. So this has a keyhole, and it's locked. Imagine that, Resident Evil. You're in a house in the woods. You need to find some keys. So yeah, of course there's people screaming not my Resident Evil, which, to be fair, I was saying that with a piece of shit action games the last few have been. But the camera angles changed, but a lot of this is very much Resident Evil. So here we have some carcasses. I think they're meant to be cows or maybe horses. Horses, I get the feeling they would say is creepier, but that's about it. So let's look up there. There's nothing there. So let's take these bolt cutters. And there's the creepy baby, which doesn't really scare me at all. And then I need a key again. So yeah, that's my one complaint with this so far. They drop stuff teleports behind you. I get it's meant to be scary, but that's the one thing in this entire demo that doesn't feel like Resident Evil, because in Resident Evil everything is quantifiable. There is a set amount of zombies, a set amount of ammunition, there is a pattern to things. I do like the rattling that makes you go like, what? What? So we use the bolt cutters. There better be a valve to turn at some point, or this just isn't Resident Evil. But here we have derelict house footage. Did that say James on it? I'm not sure. So we progress through here, and we found a videotape. And this is a mechanic which, honestly, mechanically it's not too amazing, but in terms of survival horror games, this might be my favourite feature a survival horror game's had in a very, very long time, actually. Sorry, I'm speaking up a little just in case the static from the TV messes with the audio, but this is hands down one of my favourite survival horror mechanics in, God, since maybe the camera in Fatal Frame. So we have a videotape. Let's use it. So yes, this is Derelict House, June the 1st, the Dulvey Haunted House rehearsal, June 1st, 2017.
Boo! Where did you find this guy?
Give me a break, Pete.
Hey,
So this is what led to the events of you getting in the house.
Make sure the sound is right this time. I don't want a repeat of Amarillo.
That was 2 fucking years ago.
I don't do ADR.
Yeah, nobody does ADR, sucks. You are the cameraman,
This new guy?
and you're actually controlling this flashback.
Just don't be surprised if we
You
have
are
to make a
seeing
change.
what led to the events of you getting here. And the interesting thing of this video, whilst these
We do
two
a walk through the inside first.
just talk about the house,
then
I do
we
have
shoot the
subtitles
intro.
on,
Just
and
like
we will
we
see
always
this more
do.
than once. I
Just
will be quiet
try
the
to say
next
the
time.
show's name this time, okay?
Is around this spooky house, there is a ghost.
Another worthless fucking
And of course, because it's Resident
Happy.
Evil, I'm going to assume it's actually some psychic thing. You know how it is. And this ghost is sighted 7 times. Remember the 7 stuffed dolls around the house? So this clearly means something. And a theme in the trailers, which is apparently a theme of the story, is she is coming back. Which my preliminary guess is, because they're leaning more to remake now, because remake came out, it was super popular again in HD, and they announced remake 2. Maybe that's the default canon now, and maybe Lisa Trevor survived that huge fall, and it's got some connection to her coming back, because the only other her I can think of as an antagonist would be Alexia Ashford, and I doubt they bring her back. It just doesn't fit this area.
Yeah, let's go.
The idea is, for a fraction of a second, you can see the ghost, in quotes, of a young woman.
After you.
And I'll try and get her, but it is literally blink and you'll miss it. It's a lot
You ever prep?
less quick
Shitty house,
than...
spooky sounds. Ooh, is it
Well,
haunted?
no, sorry, it's more quick. It's not like PT where she will stand there jiggling and shaking and doing the cracker squirm, the Jacob's ladder jitter.
What's that?
Nothing.
It's she'll be there for a second and gone. You
story,
can very
Andre?
easily miss her. She's
Abandoned farmhouse, missing
kind of a woman in a
places
white dress, which doesn't match the appearance of the woman in the photo. Remember at the start I said the man from the photo shows up. The woman might, but this is not that woman. And whilst I've been talking over them, and I will let you listen to them the second time I run through it, because I'm going to do this more than once, they basically mentioned that there was a family that lived here with a son. There was no daughter. So who is this woman we are seeing? Is it some psychic projection from Lisa Trevor? Because she was, if you never played Remake, a very, very tortured young woman who was basically so genetically screwed up, they put things like the G virus into her just to see if she could make it stronger, to the point she made the Nemesis parasites grow up, basically.
How long did you say this place has been abandoned?
3 years.
Clancy, get a shot of this. Let's make a great cutaway. So, Hillbilly Joe and his family go missing.
Not hillbillies, the Bakers. Jack and Marguerite
Nothing this
Baker.
time,
And they were
but you put
quiet,
the lid
not
back.
now.
This is the first hint
A lot
that
of bad rumors
this
about
is
their
the
son,
past.
Lucas.
These events are
Bad seed,
before
apparently.
you put in the video, obviously, but from a gameplay narrative standpoint, this tells you.
I should have worn my good shoes.
You're a dirtbag, but I've
Shit.
been a cameraman
Glad I
for
had
blokes
my
like this
shots.
once before myself.
Although,
You just
make
gotta
a
let
great
him
backdrop.
mumble. The sticker
Andre,
isn't there.
What do you think,
That sticker means something.
Andre?
Because I don't know everything. There are puzzles still ongoing. There are things to work out. It's kind of like this house has people in
Andre!
it. Or PT.
Andre! Clancy, you see where Andre went?
So whilst he goes over there, I'd like to point out this. In the quality of this video, you can't see this, because it's got some fake CRT blurring. But it's in the trailer for Resident Evil 7, not the one shown at E3, but one Capcom put up on its Facebook. And what this says on the left is ghosts sighted in Bayou, or ghosts sighted Bayou, or something like that. So the idea is that these people are here doing a reality show to look at this house that's been abandoned for 3 years to investigate ghosts.
Where is he? Unfucking believable.
So this should be the first ghost.
This is the last time I worked with that guy.
And
I
I
mean,
missed her.
producers, they come and go, but a good cameraman like you, Clancy,
If I turn around, is she there?
you stick with me.
No, she's not. Now let's check down the hall. She should be in this doorway. No, she's not. Interesting. The ghost should be here, looking at me. And I'm sorry this isn't a blind
What the fuck was
playthrough.
that?
There are so many of
Did you
those
hear that?
already. I want to look into this, because now that I know that this is a prequel, there is stuff to point out,
Andre?
which I think is interesting. And Resident Evil's story has
fuck is
not
he?
been interesting since, I'd say, the first half of 4. When it turns to the Los Illuminados stuff, it just completely went shit in my
Andre,
opinion.
where are you, man?
When Leon's running from a giant robot statue of a dwarf man designed to destroy the building it's in, going down a singular path, that was a little too ridiculous to me. And the rolling pits over lava. First half of 4 in the woods is fantastic. The rest, I can honestly leave it.
What the hell?
So he's looking at a switch, which opens
You gotta be
this.
fucking kidding me. All right, new deal. We find Andre and we go. I mean, fuck this show.
And here we have a basement. Because great things happen in basements. Like Uncle Touch's naked puzzle basement. You won't wear a shirt and you'll cry. Josh? So yeah. Right down to the brick and the sort of stone outside. This is very, very similar to Ellie Kedward's ruined house from the end of one of my favourite horror films of all time, The Blair Witch Project. A lot of people don't like it, maybe it's because I'm a film student, I can immerse myself more. Well, film grad now, but you get the point. I've been the film student, going around with a camera. I felt very relatable, and so let's see what happens. No, he's not. He's not a monster. He's been murdered. And here comes a man. And that's the end of the flashback. I think this is interesting. The first thing you see is not a monster, although of course it could be an argument that the real monster was man, but something is very wrong here. Someone has been murdered, you were dumped there, and now you find this. I shall dash you against the stones. So, in your first playthrough, you go, oh, hang on. Now, see, that would be a point where a lazy developer will put a jump scare down the chimney, like maybe a dead bird. Props to them for, at least some of the time, not doing this shit jump scare. So, here we are. The interesting thing is this table. There's nothing on it now. We'll think about that in a bit. Backdoor key. The ladder is gone. Try as I might, I can't investigate that room down there. I've tried everything so far. The best idea here is to look around and realise you aren't meant to play through this once. So now we have the back door key. We'll finish this cycle of just looking around the house and let it crash. See the can. And I'll show you some of the more secret stuff which you don't get on a first blind playthrough. I can bitch about jump scares all the time, but in VR I imagine that gets some people. So what happens if you just try and leave straight away?
Welcome to the family, son.
So that's clearly the guy from the picture at the start.
Still.
Remember I said there was something in the background?
Come on.
The family is expecting you. So that's what happens if you just try and leave with the door key, which I imagine is most people's first result, because horror thing, the first thing you do is try and escape, you know? But that's not the end of it. So, we start the cycle again. Let's assume people have just beaten it. They think, oh, that's okay. It's not as clear-cut as that. So let's start the cycle again. Yes, get out of the house. Okay. So, does he look familiar? She may have been the woman, but I think she's a little too heavy set for her. But the woman, you'll notice the second time, has a lot of damage on the face. That guy is the welcome to the family, son guy. So, he wasn't a zombie. He was just extremely disheveled and filthy. So, he's doing something, and it's a conscious choice. Now, the first time, you just go and get the video to get the key. But what happens if you open this straight away? If you open this straight away, you get a fuse labelled stairs, and the house key is not here. So already the cycle is different. So now we've turned on the stairs, which I haven't been up yet. There's a reason for that. She didn't show up on the last one. Maybe I was too slow, maybe I didn't trigger something. That's where the mannequin finger is. So you could go in there, but we have the fuse, so let's check something else. Here's some mannequins. Here's just a table curiously lit, and here's some stairs to lower. Now we go this way. Remember, the fuse was labelled stairs. And now these mannequins have turned around. Down here is a locked door. I haven't figured out if there's a way to break off these yet. People are still figuring a lot of stuff out for this. Here's a mannequin, some breakable chests, and two things. One of them, in my opinion, more interesting than the others. This is a phone which you can answer to break the cycle. If you answer it now, you get a message saying it's your choice. Whatever you do is your choice. If you pick up the videotape and answer it, you get something different, which we'll get to in a bit. And then there's this. Recognise the logo? If you can't see, because this is probably going to be quite crappy quality because of my internet connection, this is a photo of a helicopter seen from below with the umbrella logo on it. It's quite faded, so it suggests maybe this is from 3 years ago when the house was still lived in. And it says, "Are they watching us from that helicopter?" This is the first concrete connection we have to the Resident Evil canon. This is set after 6, so at this point, Umbrella should not have been around for quite a few years. If you remember, they were shut down. We had new companies like Will Farmer and... Oh, can I remember the one from 5? Because I played for that once and hated it. There was a company that Wesker played a part in that were after the source of the virus. I can't remember it, but Tricell. That was it, Tricell, sorry. That is not Tricell. It's not Will Farmer. That's Umbrella. But 4 talks about Umbrella being dissolved. The government found out and they were shut down. So, yeah. Why is there an Umbrella copter? And this clearly, as far as we know, is not a laboratory. So they were not actively taking part here. Umbrella was watching them. Perhaps they introduced some agent into the bayou. Perhaps this was a test bed. Or perhaps, quite simply, something found its way here and they were watching from a distance, which, again, that's part of my theory that maybe the she is coming back is connected to Lisa Trevor. Maybe this is where she came from, the Spencer mansion. The son of this couple took her in because he's apparently a bad seed. Maybe he thought, oh, here's a woman in distress, let's catch her and bring her home. And things went a bit south. So, let's just have another check. So we stand here for a second, and the screen darkens, which I can assume this is meant to say that possibly something's behind you. So you look away and look back, and the interesting thing is, if you don't lower the fuse and get the tape first, another mannequin shows up here that stares at you, and it's kind of a jump scare, but there's a curious thing about the mannequins that there are 6 of them, but 7 is the repeating number. We find a mannequin finger. Is that from a 7th mannequin? Is there something that we're missing? God, I love this ARG shit, I really do. Simply gone. I need to remember that. So for now, we need to ask ourselves what's different. The newspaper is gone, so someone's been doing something. So clearly, this is like the level from the videotape, but not quite. Something's different. And there's still a locked thing. There was no key upstairs, so where's the key? The trick question is that you're looking for a key, because there isn't a key. Okay, it's never dropped so I can see the face before. It looks like it's been pounded in, maybe with frustration, anger. I get the feeling, given that this has a sort of Texas Chainsaw Ed Gein vibe, that the son was... It's not the most politically correct way to say it, but perhaps he was a bit simple. There's quite a few Japanese horror stories that revolve around a couple that has a son that isn't a monster, he's just mentally disabled, and the sad thing is they don't treat those sort of people as kindly as they do in the West in a few backwards places. That's the thing you need to remember with Resident Evil. A lot of it is inspired by Western stuff. This clearly is inspired by a lot of Western horror movies of the 70s, 80s and 90s, but there is a Japanese cultural influence as well. So we have the VHS tape. This time, for the most of it, I will be quiet and just let you listen to what's going on. That's interesting. I don't know if you heard that. There was growling. That's not happened before. Was that meant to come from the room I go into? Or the basement? Please bear in mind, I'm showing you stuff I know, but there is things that I do not. God, that's annoying to the audio. I'm still wondering. This guy here, I don't think this is meant to symbolise that there's been torture. I think this is meant to symbolise someone who knows only slight amounts to do with medicine has been doing some form of emergency surgery, and all the gore and horses may suggest that someone has been trying to feed something, maybe to keep it placid. Perhaps this shows that they failed. So tonight on Night Springs, Clancy Jarvis is who you play, that's the cameraman. I'm sure those codes probably mean something.
Who? Where did you find this guy?
Give me a break, Pete.
Hey, I only work with professionals. Speaking of which, make sure the sound is right this time. I don't want a repeat of Amarillo.
That was 2 fucking years ago.
I don't do ADR. This new guy? I'm not feeling it.
Again?
Just don't be surprised if we have to make a change. New plan. We do a walkthrough of the inside first, then we shoot the intro.
Just like we always do. Just try to say the show's name this time, okay?
No problem. Tonight on Sewer Gators, another worthless fucking shithole. Happy?
Ecstatic.
Are we rolling? All right, let's go.
Get out of the way.
It's locked.
After you.
So, why are we in hell this time?
Do you ever prep?
What's the prep? Shitty house, spooky sounds. Ooh, is it haunted? Fuck me. I was an anchor, you know?
Weekend sub, Pete. Not anchor.
What's that?
Nothing.
What's the story, Andre?
Abandoned farmhouse, missing family, foul play suspected. The usual.
How long did you say this place has been abandoned?
3 years.
Clancy, get a shot of this. Let's make a great cutaway. So, Hillbilly Joe and his family go missing.
Not hillbillies, the Bakers. Jack and Marguerite Baker. And they were quiet, not backward. A lot of bad rumors about their son, Lucas. Bad seed, apparently.
Ah, shit. I know I should have worn my good shoes. Oh, shit. Glad I had my shots. Although, this would make a great backdrop. Andre, what do you think? Andre? Andre!
So here's something.
Andre! Clancy, you see where Andre went?
So this is interesting. Because this is the past, we can now alter it. So in the past, you unlock the drawer.
Where is he? Unfucking believable. This is the last time I work with that guy. I mean, producers, they come and go, but a good cameraman like you, Clancy, you stick with me.
Yeah, I'm alright. Now this, I'm interested in. This is just a pair of headphones. You can't interact. Keep your ears wide open and listen. And it's only in the tape, in the flashback. So the dolls are not here. I wonder why.
What the fuck was that? Did you hear that? Andre? Where the fuck is he? Andre, where are you, man?
So the fuse is already gone, but it's not on the stool.
What the hell?
again.
You gotta be fucking kidding me. All right, new deal. We find Andre and we go. I mean, fuck this show. You first. Need a nice hero shot of me coming down the ladder. So, you first.
Yeah, that's industry speak for let the cameraman test the weight of the ladder, see if it breaks. Good old health and safety.
What do you see? What is it?
I think I just heard a woman's voice. So, the issue is the headphones suggest listen, but it's hard to tell what may be not procedurally generated, but random selection of sounds it plays just to add ambiance, you know? So, what it wants us to do is go in there, which I've already opened. Now there will be a house key. But we just used a lockpick in the video in the past. Look at that. Someone thought this was a walking simulator. And guess what else, kids? Do you see that? That's aim assist, as in for firearms. Imagine that. It's first person, but maybe this is, just maybe, Resident Evil still. So we have the axe. Unfortunately, at this point in time, people aren't quite sure what the axe and the finger do. The first thought, of course, is you go, okay, I've got an axe, so let's just see if we can get rid of these. And you can add a little texture on them, but this is all you can do. Which is a shame. You'd think, okay, I've got the axe, and maybe in the full retail game it is supposed to be a sort of, okay, I've now unlocked the next step. But for now, at least, people are not sure what the axe and the finger do. So environmental destruction is confirmed. Always got to listen. Sorry, that was my chair squeaking. And here it gets dark again. I wonder if this is meant to be something, but for now, all we can say with certainty is the headphones are gone. There's nothing else aside from the crates I found, bar 2 mannequins that are destructible And there should be a mannequin that appears here, just like the ghost. I'm disappointed the ghost hasn't showed up, but we progress up the stairs. And did you hear a switch go? It's interesting that you actually have to stop and listen, which again, this is something where people say, at least the last few days since this was revealed, this isn't Resident Evil. And one of the common things was because of fixed cameras, and this is honestly a good point, is because of the fixed cameras, you could make the player hear something before they see it, which makes them go, what the fuck am I about to run into? Which is an excellent way to control the player-driven narrative, the way to introduce them to a threat before they even see it. It's really a way that they use the limitations of the time to create something truly unique. And well, it wasn't unique for very long because people realized it works. However, in this, it's still doing that, but in a different way. If you notice, I stop, I listen, and whilst I have free movement for vision, I'm still listening. I'm still walking around corridors, looking for items, looking for keys, and clearly there's going to be combat in the full retail version, and you have to listen and pay attention to what may be around a corner. The camera has changed, but almost everything else still appears to be Resident Evil in some fashion. So there's one mannequin you can destroy. So far, there's been nothing dropping out of the chests that I've seen, so it makes you think if maybe that's just to show you that there is destructible stuff like in Resident Evil 4, 5 and 6. And to a lesser extent 3, I suppose. So here's the photo of Umbrella spying on them. Nothing has changed. So let's answer the phone.
I know who you are.
Who are you?
You will have to say goodbye eventually. But will you be ready?
So that is what she says if you have watched the video. If not, she talks about making the right choice or making your choices. So let's try walking away.
Welcome to the family, son.
And that's ending number 2.
Phil. We gotta get the hell out of here.
It's a shame I can't show you because I'm pretty sure that this is not the ghost. It is a woman, but I think this may be the woman from the photo. And so this is as far into the puzzle as I've got. There are a few people at this point just writing it off saying that's it, but there are some rumours from E3 that there are maybe 3 to up to 5 different endings. And if you count the 2 different phone calls, maybe that's 3. That doesn't explain where the other 2 may be. So for now, this is all I know how to do. I still wonder about the piano, the mannequin finger, and is the extras there to calm people down and say there is combat. So aside from that, what do we know? All we know is he's still alive, she may be a zombie, so does this mean Umbrella is just testing a new strain of T-virus? Is he trying to look after a wife that is zombified? We don't know. This is as far as we get in Resident Evil 7, but I'm intrigued, I liked it, so that's it for now. So, thank you.